YouTube. So it's New Year's Eve 2020. Last year we talked about reasonable resolutions that would stick, being smart about them, and the changes to be expected, and to be more intentional about your goals. Clean out your computer and your home and organize and straighten out so you can start the year fresh and clean. And all of that still may be pretty accurate advice, especially with COVID still quite rampant and lockdown still quite a thing. You can really dedicate some time to decluttering your place and decluttering your computers and your closets and just streamlining your items to start the year fresh and new. It is the last day of 2020. It is a year like no other. It is a year that many people will be thrilled to see the backside of. Cheers. Just because we are going into 2021 doesn't mean that the troubles are over. Don't set yourself up with false expectations that just because we're seeing the backside of what's really been a treacherous and traumatic year for so many, a really testing year for so many, a really stressful, traumatic, grief-filled year, grieving and loss-filled year for so many, that we're out of the woods because the calendar changed to 2021. I'm sorry to bum you all out, but this isn't over yet. There is some magic about New Year's Eve. The same magic there's always been. People like the notion of turning a new page, change, starting a new chapter in their life, fresh opportunities that this year I'm going to do it right, where I didn't do it right before. I'm not going to drag the same old garbage from last year into this next year. Because people want to change. People don't stay in bad circumstances, bad habits, bad situations, unhappiness, bad relationships, careers they hate. The list goes on. People don't not make change because they don't want to. They don't know how to. The proposition of a new year makes it seem like it's possible to make a change for the positive. And just like every other holiday that's passed, this New Year's is no different than the rest of the holidays of 2020. You're likely at home, maybe alone, maybe with a significant other. Maybe topping off your festive gear. with a safe, secure mask put on the right way over your nose and your mouth. Don't expect these to go away anytime soon. If New Year's really is motivational for you, really does provide you with magical impetus to make legitimate change, and has worked for you effectively in the past to make legitimate changes in your life, by all means, soak up the magic and make a resolution, a reasonable resolution, and go for it. Frequently, resolutions fail because people like to think about the change. More than make the change, or they don't know how to make the change, or they would have already done it, because people don't stay in situations, positions, mentalities, behaviors that bring them unhappiness because they want to. They get excited about New Year's because of change, the possibility of change. But the day on the calendar is arbitrary. The possibility of change for you exists any day of the year. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and warn you all not to get your hopes up and not to let your guard down when it comes to acting safe with COVID, when it comes to keeping your party at home, in close quarters with your loved ones or by yourself. Counting down the new year on the clock on your wall. Maybe a little different than any New Year experience that you've had thus far. It may be a party for one or a party for two. It's not going to feel the same. I did say last year that change is guaranteed, and change is guaranteed. It isn't always good. And the day on the calendar is arbitrary. We will still be dealing with this well into next year. And we never know what the future holds for other things that will come up in life. One thing positive this year has taught us, there's so much negative, and I'm not gonna spend my time my New Year's Eve time getting into the negative. It's true that New Year's resolutions typically fail. Because if people knew how to change the negative, had the ability to change the negative, they would change the negative. And for some people it is a great out of the gate starter point, but they typically start too big and then they burn out. So if you're going to use it, start small. The one positive this year has taught us is that we can survive and adapt in life. You can make changes. Whether you agree or you disagree with what has gone on this year, whatever side of the fence you fall on, we have all been forced to make great sacrifices, great changes, great adaptations, and you know what? When we are made to do it, we can do it. You may not know how to change what it is you want to change this year, moving into the next. The one positive takeaway from 2020 that you can take into 2021 is that no one can tell you ever again that you cannot change. You cannot be flexible. You cannot adapt to a changing situation. Even if you think you are inflexible, inadaptable, and afraid and incapable of change, I promise you, you have already made numerous adjustments over the course of this year. You have maybe not liked them, but you have adjusted your whole way of living. You have adapted. And as we move into 2021, and we continue to be considerate and conscientious of our fellow man, another lesson you can take from 2020 that is positive is to think more of others than you do of yourself, at least as much of others as you do of yourself. To be considerate of the lives of those around you. As we carry on and we see this period of life as it is, as it has been, coming to a close, not knowing how things are going to fall together next. Take to heart that you can change. There's a book called All Things Are Figure-Outable. You may have to seek out information from other people, from books, from therapy, from friends, from experience. You may turn over a rock in the weirdest place and find your answer on the what and the how, because you still may be confused on exactly what needs to be changed. And if you know what needs to be changed, you may feel so impossible to change it. Resolutions you've made over and over and over again, promises you've made to yourself that you've failed to keep and have made you feel badly about yourself again and again, like you can't keep commitments to yourself. And it creates a vicious cycle of you telling yourself that you see, I told you can't do it. You're not capable of doing it. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough. Whatever it is that you say to yourself every time you've tried and you haven't been able to change it. It took Einstein many, many, many times. He said, I didn't fail. Many, many, many times. Forget how many times. It just took me many, many, many times to figure out how to do it right. There's a learning curve to change, especially things that we've been doing all our lives. Whether you set a resolution or not, as you go into this next year and you want a happier, healthier, more fulfilling and satisfying life, you want a better life, regardless of the outside circumstances that are still so much beyond our control. You can still work on you. You can change. You can find a way. You can learn a way. If you are kind to yourself along the way, don't beat yourself up. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint, and every failure is not a failure. It is one more attempt, like Einstein, to get it right. Be kind to yourself. And when you find yourself flailing at your resolution, or your decisions to change, or your progress over the course of the next year, and you just don't want to be in a year or 5 or 10 where you are right now, whether that be where you live, who you're relating to, how you feel when you wake up in the morning every day, how your body feels, what you do for a living, your state of affairs, whatever it is that makes you unhappy, that you don't want to see in your life at the end of next year, or the year after, or 5 or 10 years from now. Regardless of the uncertainties of 2021 or 2022, there are no certainties in life. You can control you. We can't control what's going on around us. This 2020 is proof positive. 2021 will still be carrying on with this process. More proof positive that we cannot control the world around us. We can control how we react to it. You are making those decisions. If you wore a mask, decided not to, if you thought about others, if you decided not to, if you engaged in social movements, if you disagreed with social movements, if you engaged in politics, if you disagreed with politics, whatever part you played in the chaos that we've all undergone, is a combination of circumstances outside of our control. And how you reacted, made decisions, coped, adjusted, no matter what comes next, as we clear this year, thank goodness, off the calendar and move into the next. And hopefully into the resolution of this situation. Realize, no matter how upset you get, you can't control the planet. You can't control the world. You can't control the circumstances around you. But you can always choose your reaction. You make decisions within the context you're given. You have the power the freedom, the intellect, the ability to make decisions for yourself, to think for yourself, to react to changing powerful dynamics for yourself. You are flexible, you are adaptable, and you can change. It's easier to change when change is forced upon us than to make that choice to change ourselves, than to be able to change ourselves. But you need to realize that you can change. If you never felt like it was possible before, because you failed, because you couldn't pull it off before, because you're afraid to change, because you don't think you're powerful enough, because you don't think you have free will, because you don't think you have free choice, because you don't think you're adaptable or flexible or whatever you came up with, really messing up my hair, that prevented you from embracing the possibility to change the trajectory of your life from ending up in that place 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now that you are headed, that you do not want to be in, that you are capable of changing it. Because you proved this year that you can adapt to changing situations. You can make modifications, you can react, you can make choices, and you can change. You had to change your whole life. And guess what? You did it. Not fun, but you did it. Hopefully leaving this year, we can all reflect on our reactions. We can all reflect on our treatment, our speaking about, our protection of, our consideration for other people, other types of people, other people in general, regardless what their political stance is, regardless what their race is, regardless. Regardless how old they are, regardless if they have cancer, that we can take a look inside of ourselves and think about how we behaved in this situation and reflect on our compassion level, and prove ourselves positive that no matter how many times we failed at a resolution or a change in our life, even if that change seems big, you start small. You be like Einstein. You don't kick yourself in the ass and you don't tell yourself you failed. You just had to try that many times to find the right way to do it, and you keep trying until you do it. You can change because you did. You changed everything. You adapted to everything. So whatever change you want to make make your life end up in a better place by the next video of New Year's, or maybe 5 or 10 years, depending on what it is you're working on. You can do it. Never doubt your capacity to adapt and change ever again. You're stronger and more flexible than you realize. You just had to be forced into a corner to show yourself that you were. So, this is a very long video. I don't know if I said anything productive because I have eggnog in this glass, my glittery fingernails. Ooh. And I'm beginning to ramble a little bit, so we're going to turn this off. I do not know what my personal New Year's plans will be. I assume they will involve the fiance, and that's about it. And this eggnog, and you guys, and a willingness to be utterly, deeply candid with myself about how I handled or mishandled this last year. How I treat other people, how flexible or inflexible I am, and how powerfully resilient, adaptable, flexible, and capable of change I actually am. No matter how many resolutions I have failed in the past, no matter how long it takes me to reach a happy, full, and fulfilling life, I will get there. Because now I know I can. I can change anything. I can adjust and adapt to any circumstances, and so can you. Happy 2021. May vaccines get here soon. Be super effective. Be widely taken, and not vaccine fanatics, anti-vaxxers freak out and make half the population not take it and make it all ineffective anyway, so we can be done with COVID and begin to transition to the new normal, whatever that is. And whatever it is, you got that. You got it. You'll be fine there too. Because you're a powerful person. I swear I'm not drunk. This is just my first one. I just ramble. I just really want you guys to recognize all your reservations and all your fears and all your beliefs that you can't change or accomplish anything, that you're inflexible or unadaptable, or it's impossible, or I cannot. You can, because you did. Reflect on the year with your heart. Move forward in the year with your heart and consideration of other people as you go into 2021. And whatever resolutions you do make, near or far, to make your life better in a year and 2 and 5 and 10. Believe that you can, because all it takes is adaptability, flexibility, a willingness to change, a capability to change. And you've done all those things this year, whether you liked it or not. So you're capable of all of those things. You just need to let yourself off the hook of all the times that it takes, like Einstein, to get it right. You'll get there. Love you guys. Glad to see this year go bye-bye. Check out my... got a crown on my thing back there. It's my last minute New Year's decorations. And this... life is a journey we begin each day. Each day is New Year's Day when it comes to changing your life. If you fail your resolution initially, do it again. And you do it again. And you do it again. And you do it again. Until you get it right. And never think you can't again. Because 2020 has just shown you can adjust and change direction and modify and manage and sustain and survive and handle any curve thrown at you. You can change because you did. So you can change things you want to change. I've said that like 5 times. I just really want to drill it in. My nails are so cute. Okay. Love you guys. Happy New Year. Good luck in 2021. Goodbye and good riddance, 2020.